Coming up now on Comcast Metrophone Sixers Insider, family ties. An attorney whose father was one of the architects of the Sixers' glory years.
And my father really related to people well. He understood people, and that's why he was so well liked, because he understood people's good and their bad, and I think that translated in his assessment of players.
How Sean Bradley's family is helping him through his rehabilitation.
The special relationship that we have is it's second to nothing.
And two college stars whose fathers were Sixers.
I was about 13. His knees were bad enough to the point where I could start getting around him and beat him, and he'll never play me again after that.
I'm John Gurovich, your host for Comcast Metrophone Sixers Insider. The April edition straight ahead. Here's Sixer coach Fred Carter for Comcast Metrophone.
The service has been outstanding. They've really, Comcast Metrophone has really taught me how to use a telephone. You can't afford to miss messages. If someone has a deal out there that you can't refuse, you want to make sure you get that call. And there's like so many things happening in the ballgame as a coach, you're juggling so many things. Comcast really helps me juggle as well.
To get Comcast Metrophone on your team, call 1-800-234-9666.
Your team, your town, your 76ers.
There's only one way to guarantee yourself a great seat for the great games. Only one way to make sure you're here next year for a Shaq Attack or a great view of Patrick Ewing. Call 339-7676 today and ask about Sixers ticket packages for next year. From our popular 7-for-6 plan to a full season package, there's something for everyone.
Your team, your town, your 76ers.
Welcome to the April edition of Comcast Metrophone Sixers Insider. Our theme this month is family ties. You know, for athletes and coaches, the highly public and highly pressurized world of pro sports can put some extra strain on family life, but it also creates some unique opportunities, and it's some of those that we're going to be looking at in this half hour. Now, to begin, we have this month's Insider Quiz, and we get right into this family ties idea. You might think with all the brother combinations there have been in the NBA, there would have been a couple of sets of siblings who played for the Sixers. But as far as we've been able to ascertain, there's only one pair. And those brothers were on the Sixers at separate times. For this month's quiz, name that pair of brothers. For some 15 years, Jack McMahon was the 76ers assistant coach and director of player personnel, putting together an enviable record of scouting talent and helping mold young players. Jack passed away a couple of years ago, but his memory lives on. John Slobotkin visited recently with Jack McMahon Jr.
This is a story of a father and his son. Kindred spirits, linked not by footsteps, but mindsets. Two divergent paths to glory, one shared philosophy.
He had an incredible outlook on life. I mean, he was probably the most fun guy that I've ever been around. One day I had a particularly good day with him. We had done something, we'd gone out and had a few beers and we were having a great day, and I said, "Dad, this was really a fun day." He said, "Yeah, but tomorrow will probably even be better."
Jack McMahon Sr., Brooklyn-born, basketball reared. He played, coached, and scouted in pro basketball for nearly 2/3 of his life. In 1958, he led the St. Louis Hawks to an NBA title, and a quarter century later was an architect of the 76ers championship team. Yet for Jack, basketball came second only to family. While he and wife Kay raised 3 children, basketball was strictly the background.
My brother, who's younger than me, never played basketball in his life. Probably never shot a basketball, my brother. And my father loved him and cared for him just as much as me, but he never pushed any of us. He figured that if they liked the game, they'll learn just like he learned it. Nobody pushed him, nobody taught him.
Young Jack's hardwood talents earned him a scholarship to Division II Gannon College in Erie, Pennsylvania. Not long after, his father was named as Director of Player Personnel and Assistant Coach for a struggling 76ers franchise. Talent evaluation is educated guesswork. For Jack McMahon, it was nearly a science. He had a couple of basic rules. See a kid more than once, and always in person. He had to look into the eyes to reveal what was in the heart. McMahon must have seen straight through to the soul of Maurice Cheeks, who Jack stole in the second round of the 1978 draft.
He understood people, you know, and that's why he was so well liked, because he understood people's good and their bad, and I think that translated in his assessment of players. He could look at them, and because he knew people so well and understood people so well, I think when he saw a basketball player, he was able to see into that heart a little bit better than other people.
Understanding people was a gift transferred from senior to junior. Jack Jr.'s life would lead him to a different court of law. When he applied for a job with the Philadelphia District Attorney's Office, ironically, it was basketball which broke the ice.
I was hired by Ed Rendell, and who, interestingly enough, when I went and interviewed with him when he'd just been elected DA, I went in and he was a big basketball fan. So when I went in for my interview with Ed Rendell, we didn't talk about the legal profession. We talked about the previous night Penn game, since he was a big basketball fan. So I walked out of there thinking I had a good chance of getting hired, and because of our common basketball interest, and I did.
It was the beginning of a stellar career. McMahon spent 12 years prosecuting for the city, attaining a top position as an assistant DA. But feeling maxed out both professionally and financially, McMahon stepped to the other side to private practice as a defense attorney, where he's handled some of the city's most publicized cases. He compares the switch to a trade, from the home team to the rivals.
As a basketball player sees his profession as a basketball player, he wasn't born a Sixer or born a Celtic. I was not born a DA. I went to law school, and I'm a trial lawyer. And in my opinion, I'm a lawyer, and guys that see themselves as that job is really just trial lawyers and not on a moral crusade are better lawyers. And for a while it was difficult, but you know, now I'm what I am. I'm a Celtic.
No matter what team McMahon plays for, he attacks his assignment with zest. He loves the law, he loves his life. That is the living legacy of his father.
I remember the day they told me that he died. I was on the golf course, and they took me off the golf course, ruined my whole golf game. But they took me off, and you know, I was devastated because my father was he was like my best friend, you know. And I think I've always been looking for a friend as good as his, even since then, because we enjoyed each other. And but he died at 60, and everybody said, "Oh, and it's too young to die." But you know, he lived, and they say this about a lot of people when you hear this, but to a man, anybody that knew him said, he lived more in those 60 years than if you lived to 160. He enjoyed every minute of it. And sometimes you get all wrapped up in the seriousness of life and everything. I try to remember that because he was a great believer in that. And he lived it. I mean, he didn't just say it, he lived it.
And today, nearly 5 years after his father's death, Jack Jr. continues to live it as well. His career is his passion, his family, his true love. His longing for his best friend has not faded, nor have the images of these special times. Within Jack McMahon Jr., the spirit still flows, and the link will continue between a father and a son.
To have your father be such an inspiration to you and to be your best friend is a remarkable occurrence. I can only hope that, you know, that I can do that with my son. If when I die, my son feels the same way that I feel about him and what he imparted to me just by living, then I'll die a very happy man.
This month's program is sponsored by Travel One, the official travel agency of the 76ers, with offices throughout the Delaware Valley for all your business and vacation travel needs. Travel One guarantees you the lowest fares, the highest level of service, and no surprises.
Hi, Mike Missinelli, editor of The Fan magazine. Hey, are you looking for a sports publication that holds back nothing, that goes hard after the real story? Well, you've got it with The Fan, Philly's newest and best all-sports magazine. Find out what thousands of subscribers have already discovered, that once you pick up an issue of The Fan, you won't be able to put it down. Watch for our latest issue featuring an in-depth, probing cover story on the dude, Lenny Dykstra. The Fan. Pick us up on newsstands throughout the Delaware Valley or subscribe by calling 1-800-THE-FAN-1.
Everyone knows Prism has great movies and home team sports. But did you know Prism has other exclusive features like Live from Rafters, the hit music series spotlighting the region's fastest rising stars, SRO, a legendary assortment of performers caught live in Atlantic City, Prism Kids, 90 minutes of commercial-free fun for the whole family, and the great sports debate, 1 hour of the most outrageous sports talk on TV. 4 terrific features you'll only see on one channel, right here on Prism.
Every month on Comcast Metrofone Sixers Insider, we present a Sixer of the Month, the outstanding player of the past 30 days or so. And this time around, we give you Orlando Woolridge.
Back in November, Orlando Woolridge was a man without a team, and the Sixers were a team without any reliable scoring off the bench. And while it has not been a spectacular season for Woolridge, he has become a very important element on the team, leading the bench scoring just about every night. Over the past 30 days or so, well, on March 18th against Minnesota, Orlando rang up 18 points, beginning a run of games in which he scored in double figures. On the 20th at Milwaukee, he delivered 22 points, the 7th time this year he had reached the 20-point mark. And on March 25th, he was called upon to fill in as a starter, manning the center spot against Cleveland. Orlando Woolridge, the April Sixer of the Month.
There's no one on the Sixers who talks more about the importance of family ties than Shawn Bradley. And as Shawn works on rehabilitating the knee he injured in February, it's been his family that's been there to help give him support. Shawn still is on target for returning to action next season. He's spending several hours a day now lifting weights. He's beginning to run lightly on a treadmill, and he says he's starting to feel more and more confident about his knee again. And as Tony Irving reports, Shawn's got his family to count on every step of the way.
These are the wide open spaces of Castle Dale, Utah, the birthplace of Shawn Bradley. It's a place where family values can be instilled without competition from gangs, drugs, and drive-by shootings. It's a place where 7'4" Shawn Bradley grew up with his head in the clouds, but with his feet on the ground.
When I was 12, I'd probably be up about 5:30 and getting ready to go out and milk the cow and feed the cattle in the backyard. And, you know, if it was cold in the winter, chop some wood, bring it in, and put it on the fire.
Bradley's childhood sounds like something from a time capsule. The simple life, where both parents were still together, where the children had daily chores. Dinner on the table at 6 o'clock, and you better not be late. For Shawn Bradley, family comes first.
Having the kind of parents that I did, I'm very, very fortunate because they shaped me. You know, they taught me the things that I needed to be taught when I was young, and they helped me and helped develop me and my personality and helped me through good times, encouraged me through good times, and then helped me through bad times, encouraged me through bad times as well. As you're growing up, 'cause you go through a lot of ups and downs in life, but my mom and dad, you know, they were there for me. They would do anything for us. You know, there's 4 children in my family, and I'm the oldest, but they'd do anything for us.
So what's the first thing you did when you signed the contract? Is there one thing you wanted to buy? Did you get something?
I tried taking care of my parents.
Oh, that's good.
As the oldest of 4 children, Bradley is now the patriarch of his own family. He's been married to Annette since September, and she's expecting their first child this summer. It's a chance for Shawn to duplicate the efforts of his parents. Parents who gave him a sense of direction and integrity. Parents who gave him a sense of poise and pride.
It's definitely a lot different looking at it from a different angle. My wife and I, you know, we're going to have a child in August here, and we're trying to prepare ourselves for parenthood, and something we're excited about. But we realize it's a tremendous responsibility. But hopefully, the things that I was taught as a child, the things that my wife was taught, and the things that we've learned, we can apply and hopefully help our child better than maybe we were helped. Not that we weren't helped bad, but you know, just continue to improve and continue to learn and teach and take on that responsibility of bringing a child into this world.
And Shawn Bradley is hurt and might be hurt badly.
Bradley's world came crashing down in mid-February with a season-ending knee injury. Times such as these were made for the care and attention that only a wife can give. In this fantasy land of the NBA, she serves as a healthy dose of reality. She's part nurse, part mother, as she stands by her man.
Yeah, we value every moment we have alone, and you know, we make time for each other, and it's valuable time, and we turn off the phones when we're home, and you know, we do what we have to do to be alone and enjoy each other's company.
You know, everything else comes second to that family relationship with my wife and I. it's incredible. It's you know, I had great expectations of you know, being married and having a wife and raising children and that kind of thing, but just that special relationship that we have is just, it's second to nothing. You know, it's the number one thing in my life, and I love it.
Sean and Annette are now teammates in the game of life, a game that is not always fair, a game where the rules change without warning. But the security of shared family values provides a beacon of light, enabling them to see the jagged rocks that lurk in the darkness.
I can help her and she can help me. We see each other's needs from a point of view that no one else can. And you know, she's there to help me when I'm down. I'm there to help her when we're down. We're there to strengthen each other in times of need and just to support each other, and then continue to grow closer to one another and continue to love each other. And that's very important in today's society, but it's something very special that we're fortunate to have found.
Next up on Comcast Metrophone Sixers Insider, two college stars whose fathers played for the Sixers.
We didn't really play one-on-one too much, but Horace, I've only beaten him maybe 5 times in my life, and we played quite a bit. And that might have been, I think, 3 years ago.
9 consecutive years I'm traveling with the Sixers now, and once again, Travel One is handling all of the team's hotel, ground, and flight arrangements. Look, when you're on the road, you need a travel agency that's responsive and absolutely reliable. Next trip you have, call Travel One.
When Sixer coach Fred Carter decided to get cellular phone service, the company he signed on with was Comcast Metrophone.
Just the ability to receive phone calls, the ability to make phone calls on the run. I'm always on the run, in my car, to the office, to practice, back home. So you're able to receive calls and make calls. So my Comcast Metrophone really is like my 6th man.
To get Comcast Metrophone on your team, call 1-800-234-9666.
Your team, your town, go 76ers.
Get your tickets to see the New Jersey Nets Tuesday, April 19th, and see the Phillies that afternoon, courtesy of the Sixers. 2 games for the price of 1. Plus, save $5 on dinner at Dave & Buster's between games. Also, get a free pack of Fleer Ultra basketball cards for the first 10,000 fans. Call 339-7676 today.
Your team, your town, go 76ers.
Welcome back to the April edition of Comcast Metrophone Sixers Insider. I'm John Gurevich. Still to come, our report on the sons of Wally Jones and Doug Collins, plus our IBM NBA Solutions segment and the answers to this month's quiz. Right now, though, Superstar, our monthly segment on some upcoming Sixer opponents of note. And with the Detroit Pistons coming to the Spectrum on Sunday the 24th, our superstars for April are Isaiah Thomas and Joe Dumars.
If you like flash and dash, a little sizzle in your superstar, you'll want to come out and watch Isaiah Thomas. If your preference is for quiet, workmanlike efficiency, keep your eyes peeled for Joe Dumars. Isaiah likes to play to the cameras a little bit. Joe just goes about his business. Thomas will be 33 years old in a couple of weeks, and although he's not the player he once was, he still can do some special things. Dumars is a couple of years younger, and many still regard him as one of the best guards in the NBA. They've been together in Detroit for the past 9 years. Were, of course, key figures on the Pistons championship teams in '89 and '90. But who knows? With the turmoil Detroit's had this season, this might be their last time together.
Catch Isaiah Thomas and Joe Dumars in person at the Spectrum on the final day of the season, Sunday, April 24th. Our theme this month is family ties. And if the face behind me looks a bit familiar, it's no wonder. That's Chris Collins, the son of former Sixer Doug Collins. And this is Askia Jones, whose father is former Sixer Wally Jones. These days, it turns out, the two sons are getting their own recognition.
Not quite 30 years ago, Wally Jones was a key figure on the Philadelphia 76ers, a 6'2" guard who was one of the leaders on the '67 championship team. Some 10 years later, Doug Collins was wearing the Sixers red, white, and blue, arriving as the #1 pick in the draft and eventually getting selected to 4 NBA All-Star teams. Today, it is the next generation that is making basketball headlines. Wally's son, Askia Jones, has finished a strong career at Kansas State and is now angling for the NBA. Doug's son, Chris Collins, a sophomore at Duke, was a starter on the Blue Devil team that had that magnificent run in this year's NCAA tournament. For each, their father is very much a part of their basketball life.
He's always staying positive with me, even when I'm down. You know, I have a few bad games this year. He just tells me to keep my head up and keep on working hard.
Just mostly about the mental frame of the game, about, you know, how to keep doing things well. You know, if you're slumping, how to get out of it. You know, how to get proper rest. How to, you know, prepare yourself to do good on the court, and that's the main thing he's helped me in.
Like his father, Askia Jones wears number 24, and you can't help but notice some similarities between him and Wally. Take a look at this old film clip from the Eastern Conference Finals in '67.
Then Wally again. And again. Jones hits 8 out of 9 and breaks Boston's back. Wally describes how it felt.
As soon as I hit my first shot, and I felt quite confident, and I just felt the streak come on, and every time I had the ball, I felt so confident that I just continued to shoot.
Now, have a look at Askia Jones, who rang up an incredible 62 points in an NIT quarterfinal game last month against Fresno State.
Made a couple threes in a row. The team looked for me, started looking for me. Got some good screens, made a couple more in a row, and then after that, the team started sacrificing some of their shots and throwing out to me. Sometimes somebody might have been on me, but they didn't have a hand up, so I just put it up. And I was, like you said, I was in the zone, I was feeling good, and I didn't hesitate.
Like his father, Chris Collins wears number 20. And although not yet as prolific as Doug, you can certainly see the resemblance. This is from the Sixers' 75-76 highlight film.
He not only can hit from either side on long shots, he'll put it in from either side of the basket with either hand. Sometimes it's the right hand from the right side. Sometimes the left hand from the left side. Sometimes the right hand from the left side.
Now, watch Chris Collins, who averaged just over 10 points a game for Duke this season.
I observed a lot of what they did, Maurice Cheeks, Julius Serving, and then when my father coached, John Paxson, guys like that, Michael Jordan, Scottie Pippen, those guys, and it really helped me as I've gotten better and better to learn how to, you know, work hard and improve my game.
Today, Wally Jones is the Vice President of Community Relations for the Miami Heat. Doug Collins is one of the main color analysts on TNT's NBA telecasts. Both closely follow their son's successes. You get the feeling that for them, having Junior beat them at their own game was something of a rite of passage.
We didn't really play one-on-one too much, but Horace, I've only beaten him maybe 5 times in my life, and we played quite a bit. And that might have been, I think, 3 years ago.
There were battles, and the one thing my father said was he was never going to let me win in anything. And so when I finally beat him, I knew that I was better than him. He never let me win, and when I was about 13, his knees were bad enough to the point where I could start getting around him and beat him, and he'll never play me again after that. So it was very competitive, a few elbows thrown and some words, but that's just our nature. We're both very competitive people.
What's next for Askia Jones and Chris Collins? Can they have the kind of success in the NBA that their fathers did? Time will tell.
Hopefully I'll get a chance to play in the NBA. I've been working hard, graduated this past December. Now I'm just taking some classes so I can have more time to work on my skills basketball-wise. And hopefully just get a chance going to the next level.
Right now I'm just, excited to be playing for Duke. I know I have a couple more years left, and whatever happens after that, I would love to play basketball as long as I can, but realistically it's tough to get to the NBA, and if it's not there, I'd like to, pursue other things, and we'll see what happens down the line.
Coming up next, the answers to this month's quiz. Travel One, business and leisure travel professionals serving the Delaware Valley for more than 25 years. The guaranteed lowest fares and the highest quality service. For a location near you, call 1-800-676-TRIP. Travel One, no one does more.
Looking for guarantees? How about Prism Kids? 90 minutes of commercial-free children's programming every Sunday morning. Superstar Sunday, today's top stars in today's top movies every Sunday night. The Great Sports Debate, the most outrageous sports talk on TV every Tuesday night. Baby Boomer Theater, great films from the 50s, 60s, and 70s every Wednesday night. Some channels offer one guarantee: we can't stop. Prism, satisfaction guaranteed.
Time now for our IBM NBA Solutions segment, in which we look at how technology is changing pro basketball. If you saw last month's show, you may remember we reported on how the IBM ThinkPad is being used in NBA scouting. It's got some other applications too, as we see this month.
Problem: it's hard to stay a step ahead of your opponent in a hotly competitive environment. Solution: the ThinkPad from IBM. The ThinkPad is a small computer device with programming set up specifically for pro basketball. 3 or 4 NBA teams now have an assistant coach using the machine on the bench during games.
Well, in advance of our game, I'll scout the opponent, have all the play calls in the ThinkPad, and during the game I can chart each play they call with the play call and how we defended it. So then at halftime we say, well, they ran their C3 play 10 times and we stopped it so many times, they ran their X play and so forth and so on. Then we can simplify what we need to talk about at halftime. Then after the game we go back and we keep the running chart of what plays are running against us throughout the season. So we play, for example, Utah 5 or 6 times and we have this data accumulated. We know what types of plays they try to run against us, how we've stopped them, or how we've changed our defenses and what defenses work the best.
You can go one step further too, using the ThinkPad as a videotape edit controller when your team is on the road.
In the past, a lot of coaches have used videotape on the road, but it's been very cumbersome. You know, they're dragging around huge television sets and 3, 4, 5 VCRs. And now I think we're getting towards just taking this on the road and 2 of like the Sony 8mm portables and being able to control those and be able to do pretty much the same thing that you would at home, you know, making your tapes and editing tapes and utilizing this as your edit controller.
Staying a step ahead of your competition, an NBA solution reached through technology.
In the meantime, we want to know if you've reached any solutions on our quiz from earlier in the show. We've been talking about family ties, and our question concerns 76er brothers. Here now, the answer.
As far as we could ascertain, there's been only one pair of brothers who played for the 76ers. For this month's quiz, we asked you to name those 2 siblings. Well, it is Caldwell and Charles Jones. Caldwell Jones played for the Sixers for 6 seasons, from 1976 through 1982, and of course was a prominent member of the team for that entire time. His brother, Charles Jones, had a successful career with the Washington Bullets, but before that, actually played 1 game in a Sixer uniform in the 83-84 season.
A little bit of a trick question there, but hey, we like to keep you a little bit off balance sometimes too. Hey, that's our show for this month, for April. Be with us next month for this season's final go-round, the May edition of Comcast Metrophone Sixers Insider.